On June 6, 1944, we launched our attack on Normandy from land, sea, and air. When the smoke of battle cleared, a few desolate acres of France were ours. Ours to hold and expand, if the vitally needed supplies could follow our assault troops and provide them with the power to smash further into enemy territory. Controlling the movement of this vast caravan was the responsibility of the military police, and the performance of this task became just another of the many miracles that contributed to the success of the invasion operation. Before the invasion began, plans for the direction of this tremendous traffic were set in motion at Traffic Control Headquarters in England. To succeed, our troops would need gigantic quantities of supplies and in record time. At this headquarters, the Transportation Corps, together with the military police, worked out the invasion convoy's shortest, fastest, and best routes. They saw the British Isles as a great funnel through which the invasion convoy could move down to the southern tip of England, across the Channel, and into France. According to plans made at higher headquarters, the various columns and units that made up the convoy were scattered in bivouac areas throughout the fields and forests of Middle England. Each unit supplied its own food and shelter as it waited in these bivouac areas for further orders. When one unit moved out, there was always another scheduled to move in. There were guns, rations, fuel, and ammunition, ready and waiting for the signal. The signal comes, and this particular unit prepares to move out of bivouac. Each vehicle is assigned the number of the LST that will carry it across the Channel. At a large marshalling area in southern England, all vehicles bearing that number will be grouped to form the boatload unit for that LST. MPs control hundreds of such convoys moving out of bivouac on roads chosen by Traffic Control Headquarters as the most direct routes to the marshalling areas. MPs on these roads speed this equipment to our invading armies. Big guns to blast away at the heart of the enemy. Supply trucks to back up the foot troops. Tanks to roll the Nazi out of France. And recon jobs to scout his defenses. Everything from ironclad mobile fortresses to bouncing motorcycles and jeeps. The convoys move out of bivouac on their assigned routes at a speed maintained by the MPs and planned in advance to coordinate arrivals and departures. Civilian traffic is permitted to move only when it does not interfere with the carefully calculated timing of the convoy. For a serious traffic jam anywhere along the line could mean the difference between the success or failure of the entire operation. MPs are stationed all along the way to maintain the smooth, certain flow of traffic. As the convoy draws into a town, it's held up only long enough to receive any last-minute orders or instructions. The MPs on duty get their information from this road convoy regulating point through a loudspeaker. The loudspeaker tells the MPs that a priority column of the convoy is coming through behind this unit. They'll have to shunt this one off the main road and hold it up to let the priority unit through. This must be done swiftly and smoothly. Every detail, down to the most elementary hand signal, must be clear and concise. Here's where traffic control training comes in handy. When the priority column has passed, the unit is clocked and moves on through the town. Regulating points are dotted all along the route so that necessary arrangements and rearrangements of this sort may be made. All traffic on the English side of the Channel is the specific responsibility of the Communication Zone MPs stationed in England. MPs, sharp in appearance, alert and accurate at their jobs, serve to see the convoy safely on its way. They're alert, too, in emergencies. Breakdowns cause roadblocks, so vehicles that break down must be towed off the road, and the steady flow of traffic allowed to continue. Even livestock must be considered and detoured. Supplementing the MPs along the route are road signs which direct the traffic on its way out of town headed for the marshalling area. Traffic posts are another aid. Strategically spotted along the route, They are in constant touch with their superiors so that any last-minute orders or changes may be communicated from headquarters to the MP on duty to the drivers. With the latest information on time, route, and schedule, the convoy pushes on toward the marshalling area. The signposts point the way. The MPs responsible for guiding the convoy do not leave it when they reach the marshalling area. Not until they've brought it to its designated space in the area do they return for another convoy. The vehicles that have come in a steady stream over road nets leading from the bivouac areas now flow smoothly into the marshalling areas. These marshalling areas are built around main roads and are considerably larger than the bivouac area. All units coming into these areas are supplied with food and shelter, while the vehicles are properly reorganized and grouped into boatloads for their next move to the beaches. Now, as boatload units, vehicles remain in an assigned part of the marshalling area, waiting for word to move down to the channel. This may be within the hour, within the day, within the week, depending on the ever-changing needs. Waiting time is put to good use as the men spread camouflage nets over their trucks and other vehicles. These supplies make a valuable target for the enemy, and they must be protected. While the men wait in the marshalling area for their particular boatload to be cleared for movement, they also take advantage of the time for a last-minute check. The next move comes when the MPs guide the vehicles from the marshalling area to the parking lanes, or parks, where they will be waterproofed and sifted through to the beaches for shipment across the channel. At the parks, the same smooth control of traffic is maintained by the military police responsible for that area. And at no time during the entire operation is a boatload or any single vehicle out of the watchful eyes of the MPs. In the last few yards to the beach where the funnel narrows, the control must be especially vigilant. To facilitate loading, concrete blocks are laid along the beach. These blocks are called hards, and as the vehicles are cleared through the parking lanes, they roll onto the hards and are loaded onto the waiting LSTs. The loading of the LSTs is a cooperative setup. The work is equally divided between the Army and the Navy, and is under the supervision of the hardmaster. The actual operation of loading an LST is one of the fine arts of war. Notice that all vehicles are put aboard backwards. They must be able to come out fighting. The LSTs carry their payloads across the channel to Omaha Beach, a 5-mile strip of sand on the coast of Normandy. This calls for pinpoint precision, since this is the most concentrated part of the entire traffic funnel. On the beach in France, the setup for receiving the convoy is ready. The MPs are assigned to and work under the supervision of the shore party commander. Their system is in tune with the overall schedule, and when the equipment comes ashore, no time is lost getting it off the beach. Now, more than ever, traffic control is a vitally important problem. Only a short while ago, this was enemy territory, and here the caravan is in grave danger. Because it is so vulnerable, it must be moved inland and given cover. The first step is to get the supplies off the beachhead in double time. Units coming ashore are directed to an assembly area away from the beachhead for regrouping. Here, the vehicles don't delay very long. They move in and out fast, but first they are stripped for action. In the assembly area, their movement is controlled by the beachhead MPs. Before they leave the assembly area, the units that were broken up into boatloads at the marshalling area in England are reorganized to form their own original columns for movement to the fighting fronts. In the early days of the invasion, the convoys entered the combat zone directly from the assembly areas. As we expanded our foothold, traffic control was taken over by the MP's Advanced Section Communication Zone until the convoys reached the combat zone. In the combat zone, traffic control becomes the responsibility of the MPs assigned to the tactical units. Up to now, they've come along just for the ride. At a separate bivouac, these combat MPs receive specially prepared maps of the local terrain showing the convoy's shortest and best routes from the assembly areas to the fighting front. The battered roads of Normandy complicate their problem. Homemade duplicators speed the task of getting out schedules and routings, and as soon as it's done, the tactical MPs consult the maps of the area to check the section they will cover. In combat, the course of a convoy might have to change with the wind. So here in the MP bivouac, the men who will direct these convoys keep posted on every last-minute development. They familiarize themselves with the planned routes and with all alternate routes, so that there is no chance of the precious convoy going astray or being delayed. They've got their orders, they know their jobs. And as the armies move inland, the MPs move with them to guide their convoys along the way. When the vehicles are reorganized to form once again their own original columns, they head for the fighting front, the last leg of the journey. This MP sign warns the convoy it is now in the forward area of the combat zone. Enemy artillery fire leaves no doubt. Behind our troops, the convoys continue to flow. The military police keep the supply lines clear. One of our men borrows an idea from the English MPs. A white sleeve makes his hand signals unmistakable. Road junctions are covered by MPs attached to the tactical units, and when the drivers move their vehicles through, they take the signals of the MP specifically assigned to their outfit. The Roman numeral 19 is an organizational number and identifies this MP. And so the convoy moves on, carefully guided by the military police from the time it leaves bivouac in England to the time it arrives at the fighting front. The cargo it carries is the power our troops need to bust their way out of the beachhead, into France, across the continent, and into the heart of Germany.